unknown here, and this will be the long-awaited part 1 for what if Deku had the adaptation quirk. Yes, the Sage 6 Path quirk is gonna come back later, but this one is just easier to make for now. And yeah, with that being said, I'll be like it. If you want to watch everything, the playlist is going to be in the description and in the comments, and there's going to be a link to the Discord and my other playlist. Subscribe, hit like, the whole thing. And with that being said, yeah, let's get into it. The last part we left off, Midoriya had first encountered, or Midoriya had seen an unknown figure save him in the alleyway, I think. Yeah, in the alleyway where the slime villain was. And that's where we'll be really resuming it. An unknown figure slowly appearing while Midoriya fades in and out of consciousness from his near-death experience. Upon fully waking up, the mysterious man is the hero who he had been, who he had been looking up to his entire life. The only form of escape. It's All Might, the #1 hero of Japan. All Might. Midoriya is astonished and surprised to see All Might save him, and he's, as excited as a normal fanboy would be. But All Might looks at this kid, and the first thing he thinks isn't, oh look, he's just another fan. The first thing that All Might sees when looking at this kid is scars, bruises, and a gray eye. This kid has been through a lot, but why? What caused all these things for this child? All Might doesn't want to leave his side, but knows that he's going to puff down soon. So he calls the police force. But he goes to call the police force. But Midoriya tells him not to, knowing why he's doing it. All Might asks why, and Midoriya just brushes off the question like it doesn't matter. All Might doesn't want to press further, but knows he should. But he knows he should. Despite this, his time is running out, so he needs to find somewhere safe to go. And after exchanging goodbyes with Midoriya, or after waving off Midoriya and collecting the sludge villain in a bottle, he jumps off, but feels slightly heavier than usual. Heavier than he would if he were to have the slime. Heavier than he would even though he's carrying the slime villain. Upon looking down, All Might sees that Midoriya is latched onto his leg. Midoriya is trying to yell out past all the wind pressure that he has one thing to ask All Might, something important that he couldn't just leave up to chance, or leave up to asking him on the internet or anything like that. They land next to a tiny building, and All Might is about to jump off before Midoriya can ask the question, but he poofs. Not he poofs, but he gets into a small Might form. And upon seeing this, Midoriya is obviously shocked, but just says that it's just his luck, that it probably makes sense that he wouldn't be the real All Might. But surprisingly to Midoriya's delight, this is actually All Might. But immediately after Midoriya is happy by this, he's saddened knowing that this is what All Might really looks like. The skinny, frail, broken man. Despite this, Midoriya still wants to ask the question. So before Toshinori, or All Might, is able to walk away, he asks the question, can someone like me, a quirkless loser nobody, be a hero? Can I be a hero? All Might thinks about this for a second, but knowing the pure amount of danger that this would put him in if he agreed, All Might states that no, it's not possible for someone who's quirkless to be a hero, knowing that they would get hurt and there was nothing that he could do about it. You could train and maybe try and be a cop, but even then, you would kind of need a quirk just to function properly in this kind of society where superhumans reign supreme and are the norm. All Might tries to let Midoriya down easy, but after everything that had happened that day, Midoriya is crushed. Midoriya doesn't know what to do with himself anymore. And knowing this, All Might just walks him down the stairs and they part ways. All Might knows that he can't do anything in this situation, can't do anything with anything, or can't do anything to help this child. But as he's walking away, All Might notices that his pockets are empty, and he acknowledges that he must have dropped the sludge villain somewhere along the jump path when Midoriya had jumped on. Running back through the areas that he had dropped it, he tries to find the sludge villain before things get out of hand. While Midoriya on the other hand, just stands there, eventually sitting down, not knowing what to do with himself. His number one hero, the person that he had looked up to his entire life, his only form of escape, had just demolished his dreams and moved on with its life. Suddenly, Midoriya can hear an explosion. Not knowing what to do, his body subconsciously follows the explosion's area. And when he gets there, he sees a large crowd of people with even more explosions and more heroes holding off the civilians. Midoriya walks over and questions what's going on when he sees an immense amount of fire and destruction. But past all that fire and destruction, he sees one thing: the sludge villain. Memories erased through his head about how that was the sludge villain who had captured him before. And immediately he realizes that it was his fault. He's the reason that All Might dropped the bottles, and because All Might dropped the bottles, the sludge villain escaped. Midoriya is even more down in his dumps, looking down at himself, when suddenly he hears one of the bystanders screaming that the sludge villain has a child captive. Midoriya looks up and squints to see who it is, and he's surprised to see that it's Bakugo. Well, Bakugo isn't really someone Midoriya would want to save. He knows that without Bakugo, if he had the chance to save Bakugo and didn't take at least some kind of chance or take some kind of effort, then he wouldn't be able to live it down. Even past everything that he's already been through, he can't let this one thing go by. So, despite everyone trying to warn him, he sprints into action, running past all the heroes at breakneck speeds, faster than any normal human should. The heroes are surprised, and so is All Might, who's sitting in the crowd, wondering why this supposedly quirkless boy is going much faster than a normal human would, especially at his age and his size. When suddenly, Midori is able to rip Bakugo out of the sludge villain. Rip Bakugo out of the sludge villain from his enhanced strength. Bakugo coughs up some sludge and questions why Midori is there. Midori doesn't answer and tosses him to the side and tries to hold off the sludge villain while telling Bakugo to run. Bakugo doesn't want to leave his side, but he sees the look inside of Midori's eyes and decides to agree with him and runs away, and runs towards the heroes. The heroes secure him, but now they have to try and take care of Deku. All Might, seeing this action, rushes into the fray and punches the sludge villain, scattering it everywhere, clearing the weather, or causing a storm in where there was once sunny weather. After all the press, Midoriya escapes all the press and goes back home. But on his way, he hears the screaming voice of Bakugo. Bakugo thanks him. No snarky comment, no nothing, just thanks. And walks away. Midoriya is unfazed by this, thinking that it's just an average day of rinse and repeat cycles of chaos and craziness. But when he's about to turn the corner again to go home, All Might shows up, and All Might tells him that he saw what happened, and he saw how he was willing to sacrifice himself for the protection of that one kid. And All Might says what he says in canon. He says that most heroes, before they're able to think of what to do, their body already reacts, and that he's worthy for his quirk, or that Midoriya is worthy for one for all. But to all my surprise, Midoriya declines and just walks away. All Might tries to stop him, but Midoriya turns around saying, "Hey, I'm not the right person for your quirk. It's like you said, I'm not cut out to be a hero. I'm sure you have another person who would be far better suit. If I can't make it with my quirk, then why should you waste your quirk on someone like me?" All Might is stunned and doesn't know what to say. He thinks about talking further with this child, but Midoriya just walks into his apartment complex and leaves All Might on the outside. All Might doesn't want to bother Midoriya at this time because, Midoriya is like this. And so All Might goes off and does whatever he was doing before. He doesn't know how to feel. Neither of them do, but All Might knows that something's wrong with this child, and he wants to help, but he's not sure how. And Midoriya is still going to go and try out for, UA, but not with One For All, but with only his quirk. And that's where we're gonna be leaving it off for today. I'm gonna be I stuttered a lot, and all this stuff for this video, but that's just because I had to come up with a script, or not a script, but I had to come up with ideas on the fly. And this is the first time I'm doing it in like a month, maybe like a month and a half, 2 months, so yeah, I'm gonna be a little rusty. Hopefully I can get the video out soon, or the next video out too, part 2, out soon. But yeah, with that being said, like I said earlier, there's links in the description and in the comments of my Sage 6 Paths What Ifs, the whole playlist, along with the rest of the playlist of this, the adaptation What If, which is was a recommendation from one of the people on this channel. So thanks for that again, and yeah, just be sure to subscribe, like all that YouTuber stuff, and yeah, with that being said, see ya.